Hello friends, I'm back and today I'm filming the video that I filmed in like 2017 when I first moved to Nashville, and it is my Nashville guide. I always do stuff about Nashville on my blog, but I know a lot of you guys don't read my blog, but I'm going to be linking a lot of the blog posts that I have done in case you guys are feeling inspired after watching this video. So there's like a lot more stuff over there, but also my hair's up because I just can't with my hair today. I just can't. Okay, here's the thing. I just realized I have this big bouffant, like 2002 type hairstyle rocking on my ponytail. Can we just ignore that and just take this video for what it is? Also, my lipstick was messed up, but that's the name of the game when your name is Sarah Belle. Tourist season is upon us. So the way I have this all, you know, sectioned off is I've got where to stay, where to get drinks, brunch, lunch and dinner, shops, where to avoid, coffee, best party buses, all that stuff. So if you're ever wondering stuff like that, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is where to stay when you're coming to Nashville. And in my opinion, the #1 recommendation I can give you guys is to utilize Airbnb. It's expensive to get a hotel in Nashville, like so expensive, so unnecessary, because you can find a really cozy space on Airbnb. I'll put my invite link below. I think you get like $20 or $40 in credit if you use my code. Anytime I would come down to Nashville, I used an Airbnb. All my friends use Airbnb. It's my favorite way to go. There are a lot of amazing boutique hotels here because it is a very up and coming city. It's very, you know, young. And the ones that I have written down are Urban Cowboy, that is located in East Nashville. It is the cutest little bed and breakfast that you can stay at. Another one in East Nashville is called the Field House. I drive by this one all the time because it's pretty close to where I live, and it is so cute. I think it kind of works like Airbnb. I'm not exactly sure, but it's very stunning on the inside. Noelle in downtown is one of my favorites. It's just like a staple hotel. They have a really good speakeasy bar located inside. Another one that's technically in East Nashville is called the Dive Motel. That one, if you're visiting from out of town, I really wouldn't recommend booking your stay there. If you do, maybe stay for like one night there because it's not the best location. Like, you can't walk around that area, in my opinion. It's not the safest. So I would just kind of maybe just visit it. There's a really cool new hotel that's opening on the West End by Vanderbilt and everything like that, and that is called The Graduate. It has like a bunch of restaurants and stuff, really good walkability. I highly recommend that one. I don't know if it's open yet, but I'll put all the information below. And finally, there are a ton of chains in a bunch of different hotels that are going to be a little bit more affordable, and those are located on 3rd and Demonbreun if you want to be close to downtown. Yeah, so just kind of look around there. There's like a ton of little smaller ones, but there's also a lot of chains, so you can check those out too. You know, if you just need somewhere to crash, they got you covered. So the next thing we're going to talk about is my favorite subject, food and drinks. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that here in Nashville. So I'm going to start off with the drinks. So if you like a speakeasy vibe, East Nashville has a ton of speakeasies. So we have Attaboy, which is my favorite bar in all of Nashville. They make personalized drinks. You kind of just tell them what you like and then they come up with something. I also enjoy the Fox. That's in East Nashville. I actually saw Evan Peters and Emma Roberts back when they were there. And then the final one that I recommend in Nashville, or in East Nashville, is Rosemarys. Cody frequents Rosemarys a lot. It's a great place if you're ready to party. Next is the Gulch area. So there are 2 recommendations I can give you guys for the Gulch area for drinking. My favorite place is Pins Mechanical. It opened recently, but we had one in Cincinnati and I really enjoy it. Personally, I enjoy the one in Nashville more. It's humongous. It's just like young people. It's really, really fun. And then I also recommend the Thompson Hotel. There's like a rooftop bar on the top. It has amazing Aperol spritz if you're into that kind of stuff. It's a solid choice. And then for downtown where the honky tonks and stuff are, I have a few. Listen here. In my opinion, it is best to avoid the country singer bars. So like the ones that are recent, ever since I moved here, I don't really go to. Not the biggest fan of Florida Georgia Linehouse, Luke Bryan's, any of that stuff. I like to stick to the classics. Honky Tonk Central. There's a photo booth. Stage is a really good one if the lines are too long at like all those other bars on Broadway. Downtown Sporting Club, that is probably my recent favorite. Fun. There's activities there. I like that kind of stuff instead of just being surrounded by super tourists and cowboy boots and stuff. They're all pretty much the same, but those are the ones that I recommend. I don't know anything about the west side, so I can't really give you guys recommendations for bars over there because I don't think I've ever been to a bar over there, but I'm sure there's plenty and I'm sure people will leave recommendations below. Now, if you're wanting a party bus for your trip, I'm going to recommend one and one only because it's a great message. They donate back to veterans, which is really cool, and it's called Hell on Wheels Nashville. I know the two guys that run it. They're amazing. It's like a big tank. It's so much fun, so I recommend that one. Now for brunch. Unfortunately, my favorite brunch restaurant closed in November. We don't talk about it. So I have Sky Blue Cafe. Oh my god, get the peanut butter and jelly French toast. That's in East Nashville. There's also a place called the Donut Distillery that is a big hit, really close to 5 Points in Nashville. And then if you're in the Gulch area, I recommend Milk and Honey. It's just a staple. Don't even like give your time. Don't blink an eye at Biscuit Love. We don't go there. Then for restaurants downtown, I recommend the Diner. It's the only meal I recommend eating at the Diner. It's just like right on 3rd and Demonbreun. It's really good in my opinion. They have a really good breakfast. My dad really enjoyed it, which was shocking because you wouldn't expect him to like anything down near Broadway. There's also Pinewood Social, which is an amazing avocado toast. Liberty Commons, I personally haven't been there, but I've heard great things. And for lunch and dinner, so I have a ton, like this kind of like sectioned off by the food type. For American dinner, I recommend Hattie B's hot chicken. If you don't like hot food, stay away. For people who are gonna ask, I can tolerate a very extreme level of hot. Levels are southern, mild, medium, hot, very damn hot, and then mother clucking hot. I recommend hot. It's like a good flavor and it is hot, but it's not too hot. Does that make sense? Pharmacy is my favorite cheeseburger in Nashville. It's so good. They have the best potatoes too. Jack Brown's, which is located in Germantown, is another good place for burgers. I don't really talk about Germantown a lot because I don't really go to Germantown a lot, but that one is a really good burger place. We really enjoy the Stillery. Back when we lived downtown, we used to walk over to the one, I think it's on 2nd or 3rd. It's really good. They have the best macaroni and cheese, and it's overall just a really good place for like big groups and stuff. So if you're a honky tonk hoppin', the Stillery is probably the best recommendation for food that you can get on Broadway. And there is such good barbecue in Nashville, but the two that I recommend is Martin's. It's a classic. It's so good. And then I recommend going, if you're in East Nashville, to Drifters. It's a hole-in-the-wall bar, but they have the best barbecue for super cheap. Now, if you're here for a girls' night out or a date night type thing, the restaurants I recommend are Sunda. That's located in the Gulch. It's so good. Asian infusion. Barcelona Wine Bar, a vibe. Very tapas, kind of just order what you want and it just comes out randomly. Very, very good for a girls' night out or a date, but preferably for girls' night out. And then I also have Henley, which is Midtown. That is so good. It's attached to the Ariston Hotel and it's so good. For Mexican food, my recommendations are Bar Taco. I have to be basic and say it, but they have really good margarita. And then Taco Mamacita, that's my personal favorite of the two, but Bar Taco, I have to say, has better street corn than Taco Mamacita, but Taco Mamacita has better tacos. Taco Mamacita has better queso, but Bar Taco has better guacamole. Gotta pick your battles here, kids. And just as the other category, because those are the main category of food that we have here, I would say the Smiling Elephant, which is a Thai food, great carry out, and then Pastaria if you want some Italian for like a date night or like a bachelorette or something like that. It's so good, and that is the west side, in between Midtown and West Side, I think. Okay, so as far as coffee, as you guys know, I'm currently in this like state where I'm trying everything out. I'm trying to force myself to like coffee. That was my New Year's resolution. And Cody is a big coffee drinker. Here are the ones that Cody recommends. So there's Retrograde, that's in East Nashville, really close to the Dive Motel. Not walking distance, I don't think, but it's really, really delicious from what I've heard. And the best coffee in Nashville, that's what he says. And then the two that are pretty basic, but they're really good, are Barista Parlor. They're readily available throughout throughout Nashville. And then Crema. Now for the shops. So Nashville is not really known for shopping. People don't come to Nashville and think like, wow, I'm gonna go shopping. Although Green Hills Mall is actually becoming a lot better, but it's definitely got some improvements. We are getting some Zara soon, and we just got a new Gucci store and all that stuff. But until then, I'm not gonna recommend doing a lot of shopping. If you are here the 4th weekend of the month, I recommend going to the flea market. It's at the fairgrounds, about 2 miles from downtown. It's so good. I love our flea market. So I'll link like the calendar that has all the dates on there so you can check it out. Obviously everyone's going to tell you to go to 12 South. It's fun just to walk up and down 12 South and see what they have to offer, especially if you're with a bunch of girls and you're trying to kill time. I guess that's what I recommend. I don't really go to 12 South, but you might like it. So for vintage stores, we have the best vintage shopping. I mean, I wouldn't say we're Portland or anything like that, but we're pretty freaking good in my opinion. So my favorite places to go for vintage shopping, we have a really good Buffalo Exchange from what I've heard. I personally have only been there once, but there's a bunch of other smaller vintage stores really close to the Buffalo Exchange. In my opinion, the best vintage stores are located in East Nashville. My favorite one is Starstruck Vintage. They just have everything that you could want, and like they are the vibe. Plus the customer service is amazing. I love the 2 girls that work there. It just makes the experience so much better in my opinion when you actually like the people that work there. I also recommend Hip Zip. I don't know what it's called. I'll put it on the screen. That's also in East Nashville. It's a little bit further down the road, closer to 5 Points. And then there's, I think, like there's just a ton in East Nashville. Just like look it up. But those are the 2 that I recommend. And Anaconda Vintage. That one's really good for like Western wear. I feel like I have to say this. Restoration Hardware. People love to go to Restoration Hardware when they visit. So if you're into that, there's a cafe. People like it. Green Hills. Now, check it out. Finally, the places to avoid. This is probably the thing that I can help you out with the most because I know where to avoid, when to avoid it, all that fun stuff because I've been living here for a while. I got this under control. So if you are not one for crowds and you don't really like country music, I would say it's probably best to avoid Broadway any time of day. It's not really gonna be your taste. I mean, there is a place called Valentine's on Broadway that might be more your scene if you're into like hop and hip hop. If you're kind of out of the college years and you don't want to be surrounded by frat guys, I kind of don't recommend Demonbreun. There's a lot of bars. I know people like Tin Roof on Demonbreun, but I just don't get it. To me, it's just a bunch of frat guys, and that's not what I'm at the age of anymore. I'm 26 and I'm way too old for that. The Hillsborough, Vandy area is probably not the place to go. I cannot stress enough how important it is to check the date that you are planning to visit ahead of time to make sure there's no big events scheduled. I feel bad for people who come during CMA's week, whether that's for CMA Fest or the CMAs. It just makes this big cluster and it's impossible to navigate. Everything just is so overpriced and no one wants to deal with that. We also have the draft here, and I felt bad for people who were here for bachelorette parties because it was impossible to get into any bar. 4th of July week is just kind of not the best time to visit Nashville. Everything is closed down on Broadway. It is just insane. People come out of the woodwork. That's not really your thing. Probably avoid that time. And then also major sporting events. Like we have a bunch of tournaments and stuff here in Nashville, so it's important to check, make sure everything isn't like overlapping for during those times. I think I've covered pretty much everything that I could possibly cover. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I give you guys my honest opinion on anything. If you guys have any questions or like a restaurant that you want to know about, feel free to like DM me or even comment below and I'll do my best to answer. There are a ton of other places that I could have mentioned, but this video is already 20 minutes long and quite frankly, I'm thirsty. So if you guys did enjoy this, be sure you stick around by subscribing. Check out my other blog post below, and until next time, oh, and check me out on Instagram. Don't forget to do that. So until next time, I will talk to y'all later. Bye!